I see you've signed on in a different way without video. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just going to go without video because the internet is a little unstable here at the Gandhi Ashram. And
if we were really tuned in, we would be using the internet, right, rather than the internet.
I would hope we reach that point in our spiritual journeys where we could all just think of each other and wave a spiritual hi. But till we get there, it's good. It's fun to use technology as well. I'm just going to be. I just want to, as part of one of our activities, we had a few women come over from the slums nearby, and they taught us how to make these heart pins. I don't know if you've seen these.
Ah, yes.
I think Anne or Preeta, they definitely seems to have a big smile. So this is the first one I made in my life ever. And it took me a good 1 hour to get this done. And I just feel like offering it to all of you. And I just want to say that I'm just here to give my heart, and I really have nothing else to offer. So I'm happy to, whichever way this goes, it's in your hands, Arya.
Thank you, Sheetal. So, you know, the theme of our conversation at your suggestion and my wordsmithing is a world of sharing. So can I ask you sort of on the outer pilgrimage level to begin to share with us a little bit about your story, your decision? How did you come to the decision that sharing was going to be such a part of your life? And how did that lead to you and your wife creating the urban ashram in Pune?
So I grew up in a family where I can safely say of privilege, where growing up I had access to everything I wanted, needed, and my parents really took effort to give us everything. But as I grew older, and at the age of 9, I lost my father, and that for me was a huge. Looking back, I could say a spiritual crisis. Not that I knew the word at that time, but I basically was just going on asking this question: where did he go? And no one could give me an answer, or at least no one could give me an answer that sufficed. So in many ways, I think the seed of this journey that there's more to life than what we see, and people we love, they may not always be with us. You know, I was just having a lot of things in my heart and mind at the age of 9, and so at one hand I had a life of privilege, and at the other hand I had this huge loss in my life with my father passing away. And again, I don't know if it could have been a depression, but I really spiraled into an introverted space. And for many years I was just my safe haven was a library or spiritual groups or communities, and basically just asking questions that nobody seems to have an answer to, or at least not an answer that they could give a 10-year-old. And so I learned to hold the questions very early. And I think that has been the inspiration for my pilgrimage. So rather than have borrowed answers, I said, let's make a pilgrimage. Let's make this whole of life as a pilgrimage to the place they call home. And of course, I don't know what this might look like, but there's this hunch that, if you keep traveling, maybe someday you'll stumble upon that space. And yet at the same time, there's this constant practice that, can I be at home in this moment as well? So as you're mentioning, Arya, I feel that life has these two aspects of inner and outer. And on the outer, we're traveling, we're journeying, we're on this pilgrimage to find something, we're seeking. And on the inner, my prayer or my effort or my practice always is to come back into the moment, to come back into this moment and all the beauty and the joy that it has to offer, the wonder that this moment contains. So yeah, I find myself in this journey, inner and outer.
Can you tell us a little bit how the urban ashram got started?
Sure. So this was around 10 years ago. Uh, I it was 20. I was 25 and I was in the States. I was in Chicago actually, and I was surrounded by all kinds of affluence and all kinds of pleasures. And at the age of 25, you literally think you can own the world, and everything's easy. Uh, but there was this strange gnawing in my heart. There was this strange knowing that there is more to life. So there was a certain disillusionment with the material pursuit of things, and there was a inner calling uh, for a life of meaning. But living in the city, or at least living in the setting that I wasn't finding the answers. So I found myself constantly making trips to ashrams or communities, spending a lot of time in the presence of, in India, what we call satsang, in the company or in the search of truth. And so slowly, I was disenchanted or disillusioned with material gifts and very strongly pulled towards a spiritual life. So at one point, I came home and told my mom that, Mom, I feel, I need to go join an ashram. I feel suffocated in the city. I feel suffocated in the structures that we find ourselves in. And at least I can breathe in the ashrams. And my mother was a deeply spiritual person, and she got it. And she said, yes, I understand. I felt that way all my life. And I pray that you go, and I wish you go. But around the same time, the doctors at home, they told me that my mother had a condition in which she probably had only 6 months to live. And a part of me was torn because we both had a very deep connection, and I felt it would be so selfish of me to leave at this point. And why not? Why let me stay back and serve her, and at least let me give her the best 6 months of her life. That was a feeling I had, that I just want to serve my mother. And after that, anyways, I'm free. As things go, we used to have these conversations, and she said that, oh, I see you want to stay in an ashram. So what stops you from living in an ashram right here in our house?
Oh.
So in many ways, she seeded the urban ashram. She said,
Wow.
whatever it is that you want to do in an ashram, do it here. Let's do it together. So she was my first, I would say she was my founder, the founder of the urban ashram in many ways. And she said, we have this house, just use it. Just use it. And that's how I started bringing in circles. Like we had awakened circles. We used to host beautiful pilgrims. We used to have people coming in from all over the world. We used to have musical gatherings. We would have book circles, movie circles. We used to host karma kitchens in our house. So all the beautiful things that I'd seen in the world in my travels, I said, let me offer these seeds to my community in Pune. So even after 6 months, if I have to leave, I hope someone will continue. But as things go, mom outlived the doctor, and she was there for another 3 years. And I could safely say that those 3 years were the best years of her life, because she met so many great people. Like earlier, she would want to go meet people, but here we had people coming over to meet us. And the kind of conversations we would get involved in, the kind of invitations we received, just the kind of, I mean, our house was like a 24-hour dharamshala. I don't know for people who know what a dharamshala, but anyone could come and be with us, stay with us, eat with us. The idea was, let's just connect, let's just talk, let's just get to this place they call truth together. And so that's what, 6 months became 3 years. And then, as she was passing away, she just she said, this is a good thing. You should probably keep this going. And I said, sure, let it continue. So it's been 8 years, and I still find myself where we left off.
The part of this that I had no idea about was your mother as the founder of of the Urban Ashram. Thank you so much. That's really very moving. Um,
Yeah.
so, what what is what is the kind of sharing that's going on these days? For instance, I know that there have been 7 friends, I think in Pune, who have also opened their houses for awakened circles. And there are pilgrims who come to your house and other houses. And tell us about that. Tell us about some of the ripples that are going on through your house.
So as I mentioned, in the beginning, I had this idea that I would probably be doing this for just 6 months.
Yeah.
And so in the very beginning, my entire effort was, I just wish someone takes these seeds and goes. It felt like a sacred responsibility that I want to plant the seeds, and I just wish someone offers their garden, metaphorically. And so whoever would come, I would always share, hey, it'll be so cool if, we had more awakened circles, if we had more uh, homes that were open to pilgrims, if we had more spaces that hosted a karma kitchen. The idea was that what if every home became an urban ashram? That was just something I carried. And over the years, I think people got it and they said, what stops me from sharing my home with strangers? Maybe it just takes a minute to convert a stranger into a friend. So those are some of the things that came out of this is, Pune has been growing very, like, as a child, I remember I could go to any part of the city in 10, 15 minutes. But today, it stretches like point to point 2 hours. And people would say, we want to come and be in your place, but the traffic is, it's not worth it. I sometimes feel, and I say, yeah, I get it, because even I don't like traffic. So how about this, once a week, maybe once a month, you come over to my place, and once a month, I could come over to your awaken. And I think in that sense, that's how organically we are growing in the city. So I could safely say that these 7 awaken homes, then I hope, I pray the day comes when maybe all become an urban ashramist space. And an urban ashramist space basically is someone who just opens their homes and their hearts to welcome what life has to offer.
I feel like maybe Owl will become an urban ashram, or is becoming an urban ashram, a virtual home where we open our homes and hearts.
Wow. And yeah, I didn't wish to limit it to Pune. I mean, this is my prayer for all that because, when they say, when we have more food on the table, why do we build taller walls? Why don't we just build longer tables? If God's given us more than we need, we should just find a way to share it. And what better way than to offer it to the pilgrim at the door? And like one of my mentors once told me, if you wish to have singing birds in your garden, just plant a fruiting tree.
Yes. So this really takes us to the inner pilgrimage and to to the question that you're offering for us to reflect on. But I want to ask you if there's anything at this moment in time about your inner pilgrimage that you would like to share with us. What are you encountering? What are you learning? What's opening up?
So there's this beautiful poem by an Indian mystic named Kabir, who was around, I think, 6 centuries ago. And he says, Bura jo dekhan main chala, bura na milya koi. Jab dil khoja apna, to mujhsa bura na koi. So roughly translated, it says, when I set out to find evil or to find the bad or the not so good in the world, it was difficult. But when I looked and searched within my own art, I found the root of all evil. And maybe he meant the mind or the heart, but I'm really encountering sometimes, on the path, whenever sometimes I'm in the midst of something beautiful, and suddenly there'll be this dark cloud that comes up sometimes. Then earlier I would fight and resist, but I think I'm learning to accept and transform. That maybe we all have our dark clouds, and it's okay if we have to make peace with those and transform it. I haven't found the way, but at least I've reached a point of acceptance. And I hope with some practice and years, maybe I'll find a way to even transform them into some goodness. So that's where my inner pilgrimage is at this moment, to make peace with my own dark side or my own shadows, and whatever they may be, which keep coming up from time to time. And it could be as simple as, greed or jealousy. And even I'm surprised. I'm like, how can I feel jealous from my own friends? And it happens. So I'm like, yeah, let's just make peace with it, and we'll find a way out of this someday.
Thank you, Sheetal. I'm feeling like I could continue this dialogue with you for a long time, and I'm mindful that it's time to invite everyone in this circle to join in. There was a question that you had posed, and I want to read it, and then in the spirit of the moment to ask you, is that the question of the moment, or is there another one that you would like to offer for all of us? Each person in the circle will have about 2 minutes to offer reflections in response to your question. So the one that you had given me that I had posted on our website was, imagine a world of sharing if each of us everywhere chose to share a little of what we have on any level, no matter how humble, with each other. What would the world be like?
Yeah, I still feel that question. In fact, just today morning, I was sharing the story of Karma Kitchen and Seva Cafe with a few friends, and we had this interesting thought that a few of us had visited a place called the Golden Temple. It's a very special place to the Sikhs, and they have a langar, basically a space to feed pilgrims. Now, the beautiful thing about this place is they feed 100,000 pilgrims every single day.
Wow.
And the entire thing is in gift. The entire thing is run completely by volunteers. And it's been running for 300 plus years. And we explored this question that if one place could feed 100,000 people, what if each of us could feed one person? What would the world look like? Would there be hunger at any level? Or if each of us loved at least one person, would there be, a crisis of love? It's a question I'm holding, and I would love to hear everyone's reflections on this.